Welcome to episode 11 of High Above Courtside. My name is Jason. That's Steven. That's Anthony. Guys, what's going on?
What's going on? Emergency pod alert.
NBA drama, baby. I love this league.
So obviously we're coming on here to talk about the giant NBA trade between the Dallas Mavericks and the Los Angeles Lakers. So I'm going to start out, Steve, with you right off the bat. What's your thoughts on this big move?
Biggest trade in NBA history was spoon-fed to the team that was born on third base, and the arrogance of the Lakers fans that everything will work out for them came through right in time because 40-year-old LeBron James and 32-year-old AD was the future of this team, and they just got resuscitated because Nico Harrison, the Mavs GM, is a fat shamer. And the Adelson family, who made their fortune in casino money, who just bought the Mavs, want legal betting in Texas. And that's the path that doesn't look too good right now in legislature over there. So they're tanking the Mavs' future in hopes to gain leverage on the league to get over to that Vegas team. That's a lot of conspiracy theory on my tinfoil hat right there. But that's the only conclusion I've come to after reading all the headlines, news, and analysis. I've never seen a more lopsided trade for a 25-year-old top 5 player in the league superstar. I mean, let's go from the origins. The Lakers, throughout history, have stars fall in their lap constantly, time and time again. Just to name a few, let's just go back to time. Wilt, Kareem, Shaq, Pau Gasol, LeBron, AD, and now Luka Magic. All superstars finding the way to the Lakers. It's just part of NBA history, and it looks like it struck again. I mean, Rob Pelinka somehow weasels himself into an exclusive trade with his longtime buddy Nico, and even Duke Nico into whittling down this trade. The Mavs had a second-round pick that they had to throw in instead of getting the Lakers 2031 first. I mean, what's going on here? They had the 2031 first, Dalton Connect, or even Reeves you could have just put in there and got that back. And the Mavs said, no, we're good. Just give me AD. What the fuck is that? I mean, when it comes down to, the trade value, you're not getting enough in. And, I mean, Tony will go off on why – the evaluation of Luka and his talents may be skewed in the media, but you need to get more than that. So
first of all, for the millennials out there, David Stern wouldn't let this happen.
Hell no.
I don't know what Adam Silver was doing. I don't know if he was sleeping. He was tucked in by 8:00 Saturday night and just let this go right under his chin. But David Stern's league, this would have been shut down so fast. And I mean, like you said, Steve, it's unbelievable. It feels so much like the Shaq one. The only explanation is that the Mavs the new ownership didn't want to pay the tax, didn't feel comfortable with Luka, and was just whatever. But we don't want to pay him, so do whatever you got to do. And, I mean, that's exactly what happened with Orlando. They just did not want to pay Shaq back in '96 or whatever it was. And, now here are the Lakers getting spoon-fed a superstar at 25 years old again. I mean, it's absurd. It's ridiculous. He's 25. It's unprecedented. Superstars at that age do not get traded, especially not without calling around the league and trying to get more.
That's the biggest thing.
It's insane. It's asinine. It's a fireable offense. It's crazy. But, I mean, from my Celtics perspective, this is just another notch in the Tatum, Brown, and Brad Stevens bedpost of another franchise that they had to end. That, the Mavs, when they get to Celtics in the finals, got curb stomped and decided we got to blow it up. This is not going to work. Luka's too fat. He cannot guard. And, throw him in there with the Brooklyn Nets, the Heat. Who else? Philly. They're in that category now. Jason Tatum is their daddy.
He's a lot of people's daddy.
Do you guys buy the Luka weighs 270? Because off that plan, I don't know if he looked like 270.
He did.
So I feel like there's
fine.
What do you mean?
I feel like
a 6'7" guy is gonna look not that fat at 270. The only way you look fat at that side, I said this last night. Who's guy? Yeah, Garshawn Yabusele is 265, 6'8", built brick house. And then you have Doughboy over here, Luka Doncic. I'm not a fat shamer. I'm just saying, if you look at him next to Gershon, I mean, it's close. It's close. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a cop out that I don't know. It's still a horrible trade, obviously, but the thing we got into it on the socials yesterday with people was that, for me, it was always and it always comes back to the Celtics with us. And it's people have been so dismissive about, oh, Tatum's not better than Luka. Luka's clearly top 3 player in the league. And I'm not going to argue that he's not top 6 or top 5. He's not top 3 to me because of exactly what Nico Harrison confirmed yesterday. He cannot defend. He's fat. He's out of shape. And Nico Harrison doesn't think that you can win playing 4-on-5 defensively, especially when you get to the final and you have to face, the next best offense in the NBA. So, I mean, these national writers it's a horrible trade. It's horrible. No one's arguing that. But there is a world where you can see a little bit that if ownership's telling you we're not paying this guy in 2 years, then there is an avenue where you can see, okay, let's go get a proven guy, the best, maybe the best defender in the NBA, and Anthony Davis, and that can help us compete in the short term. And so, it wasn't a good trade, but like in the short term, in 1 or 2 years, the Mavs are still a contender. It's just so short-sighted that there's no way you can trade a 25-year-old and not get something of value that you think will still exist for your franchise 10 years from now, which Anthony Davis will not. He's 31. He's always been injured. So, there's just so many angles to this trade. It's insane. You could talk for hours about it.
I think like the most fascinating thing with this trade is like there's people in Dallas that like truly like there's some people, most of the fans like hate this trade, but there's some that are saying like this AD move puts them over the top. Like Stephen A. Smith on ESPN today was saying Mavs are now like the number 1 seed, or they're like the top dog now to beat, which is completely like dismissing OKC. And even with adding an AD, like, yeah, he'd give you 25 to 30 a night, but he's more of an injury risk than Luka was to a degree. So I don't even understand like this notion of like, oh, Luka gets hurt, like he can't stay on the court. Like, I don't know. I just think this trade in a vacuum is like horrid for Dallas. Like, okay, yeah, does AD help you against OKC, Hartenstein, Chet? Like, okay, like I get that, but like at the same time, you just gave up the next 8 to 10 years where you could win with Luka. So now your window is shortened to like 2 to 4 years, depending on other moves they make. They're probably going to move Gafford or Lively, maybe one of them, who knows, to try to get more pieces. But like, as it stands right now, if you're a Dallas fan, like I'd be kicking myself. I'd be like, Jesus, like they actually just screwed up the future of this team.
Yeah, they brought a coffin at American Airlines.
I know. That was awesome.
It was ridiculous. They wrote obscenities underneath Dirk's statue, cursing Nico Harrison. They are so fucking mad. The videos circulating on social media is almost like I don't know. I wish I had like a little coffee mug with all their tears, because I love being a franchise extinguisher. Like the Tatum and Brown era has just been absolutely amazing to witness, and I just love seeing it dismantle other fan bases. We'll see how it goes. I think you're completely right. 2 to 4 years. I think 3 max. But we'll see how Dallas goes. I just don't see, how this puts them. They're not 3 wins away like they were last year. You know what I mean? To winning a final.
Yeah.
The crazy thing is, like you said, does it make them better against the OKCs of the world? The only reason they beat OKC last year was because of Luka. They could not stop the high pick and rolls with Luka. If anything, it's a lateral move. And to me, before Dallas was still the second best team in the West to me before trading Luka. Like he was always going to come back. He's not out for the season or anything. So like I never wrote Dallas off. Luka's gonna, I don't know how much longer, maybe a month that he's gonna be out. And it's like even if they're a 6-7 seed in the West, you still like them against Houston or Memphis in the first round with Luka on the court. So it's like I don't understand. I don't understand, but I will revel in the tears of Mavs fans. So
can I throw Luka,
go ahead, Jason.
No, I was just gonna throw out a scenario in terms of like. So I guess in the reporting there was one mystery team that Dallas did call about Luka about 2 weeks ago before talking to the Lakers. Let's throw a hypothetical out that team was the Celtics. If they're offering you Luka for say KP and Drew or KP and Derek White and like 2 firsts, whatever the package may be. Would you? Yeah, that
That's
right.
what
So
they
that's
I mean, I think
But
the more
also,
realistic
too-
one is it would if
Right,
they called
Jalen.
about Jalen,
yeah,
I would do that too.
yeah.
Like I'm a Luka hater, but I'm not crazy. Like he's unbelievable. He's the best offensive player in the league. Him and Jokic. He's just a weapon. He's going to go down as one of the best offensive players of all time. Easy.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Yeah.
that's the biggest thing. Like, how do you not call about Paolo? How do you not call about Jaylen Brown? How do you not call the Sixers and ask for Tyrese Maxey or something? Like I don't understand. Like AD makes you good for 1 or 2 years. But
Yeah.
he's 31 and he's injury prone, and there's so much good young talent in the league that's like you could have called so many teams. You could have built a war chest of picks. You could have waited to the offseason and called the Wizards and drafted Cooper Flag. You know, I don't get it. I don't get where their head was at. I mean, Nico Harrison must really, really think that this trade is gonna win them a title, and if it doesn't, it's colossally the worst trade of all time.
It's your job. Like he should be
Yeah, like,
fired.
it's gone.
Honestly.
I mean, unless the
But also-
ownership came to him and said, "Hey, we don't want to pay this chubby guy $350 million, and we don't really care about this team. We're just trying to. It's a money laundering operation for us."
Yeah.
Which
that's
could be the
what it
case.
is. That's
Could
what
be
it
the
is.
case. So they're like, "Hey, we want to launder money, and we don't want to pay that guy $90 million a year. So get rid of him."
Dude, they're in the 9th seed in the West right now. LA's in the 5th seed. So I don't know how.
But how many games are they off? Like
They are 13 and a half back from OKC, but Lakers have 19 losses. Dallas has 24 losses.
so it's like they're not far off from
No,
like not even being in the play-in.
but Luka
With Luka
makes you
coming in.
compatible off those standings. Like I don't think AD is going to be the one doing that.
No.
I mean, I still think they're going to be really good with AD. Don't get me wrong, but
Of course, yeah.
I mean that's
It's also
if he
not-
can stay healthy.
I mean, they still have Kyrie too, so it's not like their point guard spot. Like, yeah, you lose your future, but at least they still have Kyrie who can hold it down and still make that team, take them for a run, in the playoffs. So
Their
I
space
don't
is
know.
going to be putrid. They have
they
all those
start-
big guys. Who's going to be their shooter? I mean, the only thing that's awesome about that is
PJ?
Kyrie operates well in the mid range, but like that's who's their shooters there. Like it's just going to be clogged.
PJ.
Still there.
Yeah, but Klay Thompson. I mean, like
Quentin Grimes was awesome when we played him a few weeks ago. But yeah, right. Like they don't have quite the volume scoring that they did have before. And maybe that doesn't matter in the playoffs, but I don't know. It remains to be seen. Awful trade. Awful.
So I do want to. We can switch to another trade that happened yesterday. The Spurs, Kings, and Bulls did another 3-way trade. So the trade is more extensive to this. This is kind of a lot, but Spurs get Fox, Jordan McLaughlin. Kings get Levine, City Kaseko, 3 first-round picks. Bulls get Zach Collins, Trey Jones, and Kevin Huerter, and their own 2025 first-round pick. So off the bat, Anthony, who won that trade, and what do you expect out of De'Aaron Fox down in San Antonio?
I kind of like it for everybody. I'm not like the biggest De'Aaron Fox guy, but it's a win for the Spurs. Like it's the biggest thing for the Spurs was getting another guy who can handle the ball and score on Wemby's level and take some pressure off him, and they did that. So that's awesome. He wants to be there, so they're going to sign him long term. But now you have your 2 pieces with the Spurs. The Kings, I mean, I guess I like because they got some picks, but like, why do you want Zach LaVine? I don't know. I know Jason kind of likes it for the Kings a little bit. We'll let him get into that. But you're just the same. It was a lateral move. Like either blow it up or don't blow it up. Like now you're the Chicago Bulls of the West.
exactly.
And like you might, and like yeah, like they have a lot of scorers, and they could outscore you on any given night, but they're not winning a title. And realistically, Zach LaVine's not going to be on their team when if and when they become a title contender. But most of all, I do love it for the Bulls because the Bulls have not committed to a rebuild in so long, and like this is the first piece. So I'm just happy for their fans that you bottom out, trade Vucevic, you got rid of Levine, trade whoever else is on that team, get Kobe White out of there, and finally bottom out so the Bulls can start to do a real rebuild. So I'm happy for them too.
What do you think, Jason?
So going with the Kings. So it's not that I like love the trade for the Kings, but Sabonis just signed long term there. You have Malik Monk, who's actually turning into a quite he's a good NBA player. He's probably gonna take over the point guard role there. I just think like if you're gonna trade a guy like De'Aaron Fox, you need someone that's gonna try to replace his scoring to give your fans like something to watch. But I understand that like they can be the Bulls of the West in terms of like they're kind of in like no man's land. They're not committing to a rebuild, but they're also not, tanking. They're kind of sitting in that middle ground, and that's really not really going to get you anywhere long term. But I don't know. I mean, they got a good amount of picks back. You've got Levine, who can also like sort of carry the weight with Sabonis and see what you can do with Malik Monk, and DeRozan is still there, but he's like 35. He's old too, right? So I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. I just feel like this trade and all, like San Antonio won. Bulls, like you said, are committing to a full rebuild, hopefully, so they can kind of rejuvenate that franchise. And just like, yeah, we're going to see what happens with the Spurs and Fox and Wemby. I do wonder, though, what happens to Chris Paul, because he was like their starting point guard. So, like, does he get moved to the bench? Is he going to start with De'Aaron Fox, or are they going to move him to the bench? So I guess
two a little bit. I think he can play the two a little bit, De'Aaron Fox. I mean,
think
Chris
he has
Paul's
come
still
off the bench.
valuable. So
Chris Paul plays slow. De'Aaron Fox is a blur. I mean, you gotta play that style, especially with all those young guys they have over there in the Spurs too. What the Kings I really, really liked, because they got an actual haul for this one, those 3 first-round picks. The 2025 Charlotte first-round pick is gold.
Yeah.
That's gonna be so
that's a good
valuable. And you got a bunch, like you said, you got a bunch of people over there that can score the ball. So we'll see what that 2025 Charlotte pick, sends in. And then 2031 Minnesota pick, who knows what's going to happen over there. It's kind of like, I mean, Anthony Edwards is phenomenal. He's a great young talent, but there's a lot of like interesting pieces over there that seem a little clunky.
not to double back,
but to the Luka thing, but I do want to mention this. Why would Dallas not call and ask about Anthony Edwards?
Yeah.
Like Minnesota's
Or
in a
ask
weird
about
spot.
Giannis even. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what the hell?
I think the Bucks might have been that other team. I think Giannis is the guy that because he's similar to Anthony Davis, that like, hey, here's a guy who can dominate inside, play defense, play both ways. I wouldn't be surprised if the Bucks were that team. But I don't know why you don't call up Minnesota and say, hey, you got a guy who's a little disgruntled. We have a guy who we don't think. Why don't we just swap them out? They're both young. They're both in their prime. I don't know.
But let's not forget about this. Like, Nico Harrison is the guy that fucked up the Steph Curry pitch in the Nike presentation. So let's not act like we're talking about a competent guy here. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck? And then also, like, I don't understand. Like, it didn't happen overnight. This happened on beginning of January. So they've had talks throughout the time. You know what I mean? So I don't know. And then the other thing is, like, Anthony Davis waives his 5.9 trade kicker. So, like, he was more than happy to get the fuck out of there, too. Yeah.
What's really
frustrating is that it's so hard to build a winner. And, like, the Lakers, their front office is so bad, and they fuck up so much, and then they get rewarded. They had the second pick 3 straight years and got drafted Brandon Ingram.
Yeah.
What's his name that they just traded to Brooklyn? D'Angelo Russell and Lonzo Ball. So they have the second pick 3 years in a row. They miss on all the guys. What's that get them? Anthony Davis, because he's begging to be in LA. And then they win a title. They trade away all their good role players. They sign Westbrook. They screw that up. And then what happens? Dallas Mavericks call them about Luka Doncic out of nowhere. Like it's just like it's insanely lucky how they, the way they win all the time. It's like no other. Like think about the Celtics building this team. They had to nail 2 straight third overall picks, and then they still had to have a lot go right. They had to be able to get Drew Holiday, which came out of nowhere. They had to nail the Porzingis trade, and it's like so much goes into building a winner, unless you're the Lakers, and then teams will just call you and send you their best players. It's unbelievable.
What's still insane is like why target AD? Like why? Like is it the Jason Kidd connection from 2020?
No, it's the GM. And
they're homies
from their night. Yeah, they're boys.
But like,
isn't
there anybody above that can like, Nico? Like maybe AD's not the right guy to target. Like shoot higher.
The Celtics
like I just
put a display for 20 quarters on beating down this dude on defense. They're like, you know what? We need defense. Bad. Who's the best defender besides Wemby out there? And they okay,
Yeah,
AD.
AD.
We
Yeah.
just put that guy on a turnstile. And that's another thing for the Lakers. They have to make some moves here because they have a bunch of traffic cones over there. There's no defense over there. And they have no big man. So Jackson Hayes, who they're going to have? And I hate this. I hate this.
But they have assets, though.
I know, but Rob Williams is going to go over there. I know what's going to happen. And that'll make me so frustrated.
He's going to get hurt. Dude's going to get another little meniscus thing. I mean, it happens all the time. Like, I don't know. I don't even want to have the Lakers be good. Like, let them, like, suffer with Luka not playing defense.
They're
eating
going to be
little,
good. Not this year, but
eating little Debbie
good.
Cakes. Like, dude, I mean, there's so many good restaurants in LA. Just feed them little Debbie Cakes.
Wait till he starts
tacos.
Street
tacos?
Come on, man.
You know what?
A couple churros. We'll get him on the churros. My man will be $3 bills before you know it.
They're doing him dirty though in Dallas, telling him like they're like trying to even like imply like he's like a drinking problem. Like, relax, guys. You just didn't like him on defense, and like that's it. That's all you have to say.
And it's also fans just coping. Like, they are sad, and they're anything to get their minds off their inner sadness to deflect. And it's a good move. It's like that meme with the mask on and there's tears behind it. That's Mavs fans right now, like trying to this is fine, everything's good. No, it's not.
So obviously, I'm sure we're going to hear about more trades coming up in the days to the Thursday at 3 p.m. deadline, which I'm excited because I know the Warriors are itching to grab a star. They've called about, I think, everybody. I think Paul George, Kevin Durant.
Get Durant back.
Yeah, it was like Paul George, Durant. Who was the third one that they called about? I don't think it was Giannis. Butler said
forget about it.
Yeah, Butler's like, I'm not going there. No way.
Here's the thing, though. If Thursday gets close and he can't get to Phoenix, like, is he just going to stay in Miami? I doubt that, too.
No, I don't know. No, dude, send him to the Jazz.
Does on Thursday morning he go back to the Warriors and say, okay, doesn't look like Phoenix, so fine, I'll sign with you guys.
Possibly.
We'll see.
If I were him, I mean, he probably doesn't like it because he knows Steph's on like the back half of his career. So I mean, why would he want to sign long term when maybe Steph's not going to be there? Draymond is like washed. That dude washed so fast. He like doesn't play now. Where he's on the bench and he plays like 15 minutes. Like I don't know. I don't feel like he'd re-sign with the Warriors. I don't know. But moving into the Sixers game from the other night. I mean, Anthony, what a bounce back game for the C's. That game looked rough, I'm not gonna lie. For a good majority of that game, the Celtics were losing, I think by 25 at one point. But the fourth quarter, they just 26. But in the fourth quarter, they just absolutely dominated in that quarter. What did you like from them, Anthony, in that quarter?
Just another Tatum takeover again. I mean, that was vintage Tatum in the second half. He was he decided that I'm unstoppable, and there's not a player on that Sixers roster who can stay in front of him, and that was that. It's just you love seeing that the day of his counterpart in Luka getting shipped out, and our superstar is a guy that's not going anywhere, and he's hitting game winners one night and he's leading 26-point comebacks the next night, and it makes you feel good.
Yeah, he had that game winner in the Celtics 2-point win against the Pelicans. And this Sixers game, there's two ways to look at this game. Okay, one, the Celtics at full strength minus Peyton Pritchard shouldn't have been a dogfight with the Hospital 76ers to amount the biggest comeback in the NBA this year, 26 points, as Jason mentioned, or two, top-tier win of the year, and that's the team we remember from last year, the intensity, the spacing, the stars taking over, clutch stops and big buckets. If you've been on this pod since day one, I'm going to roll with the ladder on that one. Sean Grande actually had a amazing stat out there from last night's game, stating that the Celtics had a 0.4% win probability in the final 15 minutes of this game. The Celtics went on a 41-10 run from 2:42 in the third to 5:42 in the fourth. Amazing. And that's the way you come back from down 26 and actually flip the switch. None of this fake bullshit, come back, lose late, and then, we almost won this game by double digits, so it was pretty cool. Reports came out after the game saying that Joe asked the starters at halftime if they were just tired. And if they were, he'll put in the stay ready guys. And, the starters said 17 down. We're going to take this challenge from Joe. They came out flat in the first half of the third. That was a little gross. But then they actually flipped the switch. They took the challenge and played like a team with their heads out of their asses and led by their 2 all-star franchise pillars, Jason motherfucking Tatum. Superstars, Tony said. In this one, and it was heavenly to watch. He was a complete no-show in the first quarter. He playing 8 minutes. The second quarter, he played all 12 minutes, put up 8 points on 3 of 5 shooting, 1 for 2 from 3, sparking a little momentum. So that's when Joe was like, all right, what's the deal here? You guys want to sit, or are we actually going to go for this one? But, well, you got to run with the wave here. He had the 8 points. He's like, you kind of get it going a little bit. So he played the entire second half, 12 points in the third, 13 points in the fourth, 10 of 14 from the field, 4 from 5 from 3 in the second half, just clamping down on defense. That the possession on Maxey at the end of the game where he blocked his shot. Oh my goodness. It 60 minutes real quick.
Man. Jesus Christ.
And he finished the game with 35 points, 7 rebounds, 11 assists, 1 steal, 1 block on 13 for 20 shooting, 65% from the field, 5 from 8 from 3, 62.5% from long distance, 4 for 5 from the charity stripe, 80%, but I'll fucking take it. I'll take it, man. That was a masterclass. Jalen was, great in this one too. Porzingis started out hot. It's great to see them actually flip the switch and see the team we saw from last year. It's glorious.
So I think, I don't know. I love that game from the Celtics. I think they, like you said, they could have sat and just gave the 76ers that game, but they decided to play and do what they need to do. So the schedule coming up, Cavs and Mavs. What would you guys like to see with them going forward in terms of those 2 matchups?
Mavs and Knicks Saturday night.
Knicks.
So we got 3 good ones.
I believe so, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, Cavs like that last night was kind of it felt like we get the Cavs on Tuesday and we want to conserve our energy, and I shut the game off at the end of the third quarter, and credit to me, that's what shifted the energy. So you're welcome. So I hope that they were looking ahead and they're amped for this Cavs game, and we're ready to see really where the East stacks up with the Celtics, with especially with the Knicks to end the week. So
I just hope they're not tired. Both the Jays played like 40 fucking plus minutes. We'll see. You got to contain those boys over in Cleveland, and you can't let that momentum build. Because like I said, that snowballs. Mavericks, we'll see what team they put out there. They just got mollywopped by the Cavs. So, and then the Knicks. That's a good test in our conference. Let's go New York, Boston. Match up well.
That should be a good game. So that will do it for us here. You can follow us at HA Courtside, and we will see you guys in the next one. Peace.
Peace.